Under the provisions of the Constitution and laws of the student government, the President of the Senate shall preside over any meeting of the Senate. Therefore, pursuant to my authority as President of the Senate, I hereby call the first meeting of the 68th session to order. Section 2, Notice of Election Results, Central Office.
Notification to the Student Senate regarding the election results is required by the Elections Code. On Thursday, April 9th, the Central Office emailed all the eligible write-in candidates regarding their election to the Student Senate. The following occurred during that period and after the formal certification of the results. Business Senator candidate Connor Poore did not accept his seat. Health Profession Senator candidate Marvin Beek was not identified in university records. Liberal Arts and Sciences candidate Kylie Howard did not accept her seat. Out-of-state Senator-elect Anna Wilding chose to resign prior to taking office, triggering the ability for Tyler Beatty to take the oath of office. Of the total 51 Senate seats, 33 are considered elected, with 13 seats remaining vacant. The fall election will take place in an attempt to fill those vacant seats prior to fall break. Thank you.
Thank you. Section 3, Swearing In. Will the senators-elect who are absent from the inauguration please stand? Okay. Please raise your right hand, and if you accept at the end, please respond with, I do. Do you hereby swear that you will faithfully serve the students of Wichita State University, act in accordance with the Constitution of the student body, fulfill all duties and responsibilities of the office in which you are about to enter, and to the best of your ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the student body of Wichita State University? Congratulations. Advisor Fonseca.
Pursuant to the student government regulations, all members of the Student Senate must formally sign their oath of office. So in front of you, you now have a piece of paper with your name and a blank spot. If you can go ahead and please sign your oath, and then when you are done, pass them to the center, and I will come around and pick them up. Congratulations, you are all now formal senators.
Moving to the next item, Section 4, Roll Call. Clerk Carter.
All right, if I say your name and you're here, please say present, and if you're not, please say absent. All right, Senator Cham. Senator Bum.
Present.
Senator Barnes.
Present.
Senator Rise. Senator Fawn.
Present.
Senator Auden.
Present.
Senator Beam.
Present.
Senator Black. Senator Tawana.
Present.
Senator Sauls.
Present.
Senator Pang.
Present.
Senator Lopez.
Present.
Senator Mallard.
Present.
Senator Owens.
Present.
Senator Brown.
Present.
Senator Custer Safar.
Present.
Senator Miller.
Present.
Senator Murphy.
Present.
Senator Seals. Senator Henley.
Present.
Senator Reiselhawk.
Present.
Senator Scheich. Senator Hansen.
Present.
Senator Beatty. Senator Arteaga,
Present.
Senator Boyd,
Present.
Senator Haynes,
Present.
Senator Mangaravani,
Present.
Senator Mahat, Senator Sadat,
Present.
Senator Hatch,
Present.
Senator Azard,
Present.
Senator Lewis.
Present.
All right, with 28 members present, simple majority is 15, and two-thirds majority is 19.
Moving to the next item, Section 5, Messages from the President. Clerk Carter.
Executive Order 68-001, rescinding all formal appointments from the 67th session. Whereas cabinet appointments, association appointments, university appointments, and faculty senate appointments were made during the 66th session, and whereas the start of the new session of the Student Government Association has formally started, new appointments are entitled to be made. Now therefore, pursuant the authority vested in me as president of the association by the Constitution and the laws of the Wichita State University Student Government Association, I hereby direct and order the following. Action 1. Rescind Executive Order 66-002, 003, 004, 011, 012, 014, and 015. Action 2. Direct the central office to notify the contacts persons of all listed in the executive orders of such decisions and notification to the Senate. This order shall be filed with the association's office, add to the record, and it shall become effective upon filing and remain in force until rescinded by the president of the association or following other procedures. This order shall become executive law and special ordered to remain beyond the session. Executive Order 68-002. Allocate funding for use by the treasurer for summer funding. Whereas summer funding is established but leftover funds of each session. Whereas the start of the new session of the Student Government Association has formally begun, and there is a need to set up the summer funding, summer funding fund is necessary to provide this service to students and student organizations traveling over the summer. Now, therefore, pursuant the authority vested in me as president of the association by the Constitution and the laws of the Wichita State University Student Government Association, I hereby direct and order the following. Action 1. Direct the central office to set up the summer fund with funding from the SGA budget not to exceed $7,500. Action 2. Direct the student body treasurer to open the summer fund application following all regulations listed under individual and organizational funding. Action 3. Direct the central office to notify the student senate of this action. This order shall be filed with the association's office, added to the record, and it shall become effective upon filing and remain in force until rescinded by the president of the association or following other procedures. This order shall become executive law and special ordered to remain beyond the session. Executive Order 68-003, creating the Athletic Engagement Director position. Whereas the Cabinet shall serve to advise and assist the President in the execution of the will of the Senate and the members of the Association, and to communicate the activities of the executive branch to the Senate. Whereas the President of the Association may create, develop, implement, and appoint any additional members of the Cabinet they deem necessary through executive order. And whereas the Wong Nguyen administration wants to strengthen the connection between intercollegiate athletics and the general student body as a tool for strategic collaboration to inform policy and resource allocation decisions. Now, therefore, pursuant the authority vested in me as president of the association by the Constitution and laws of Wichita State University Students Government Association, I hereby direct and order the following. Action 1. Create the Athletic Engagement Director for the Wong Nguyen administration with the following duties. Represent the interests and concerns of the student body to Wichita State Athletics. Serve as the primary liaison between student government and the athletics department. Promote student engagement with campus athletic events and spirit initiatives. Shall be responsible for the review of the student athletics ticket agreement by SGA leaders as outlined in the ticket agreement. Works to maintain positive public relations between athletics and students in order to maintain the level of excellence expected in representation of Wichita State University. Ensure student engagement and voice over the athletic fee. Advance engagement from the student body in and with athletic events. Action 2. Direct the central office to notify the Student Senate of this action. This order shall be filed with the Association office, added to the record, and it shall become effective upon filing and remain in force until rescinded by the President of the Association or following other procedures. This order shall become executive law and special order to remain beyond the session. Executive Order 68-004, creating the Professional Opportunities Director position. Whereas the Cabinet shall serve to advise and assist the President in the execution of the will of the Senate and the members of the Association, and to communicate the activities of the executive branch to the Senate. Whereas the President of the Association may create, develop, implement, and appoint any additional members of the Cabinet they deem necessary through executive order. And whereas the Wong Win administration wants to advance the professional development of students of Wichita State University in connection with Shocker Career Accelerator and with various industry partners at Wichita State and engagement with alumni. Now, therefore, pursuant the authority vested in me as president of the association by the Constitution and laws of the Wichita State University Student Government Association, I hereby direct and order the following. Action 1. Create the Professional Opportunities Director for the Wong Win administration with the following duties. 1. Represents the interests and concerns of the student body to Shocker Career Accelerator as well as foundation and alumni engagement. 2. Serve as the primary liaison between student government and Shocker Career Accelerator as well as foundation and alumni engagement. 3. Promote student engagement professional development opportunities. 4. Collaborate with academic colleges and departments to align career development initiatives with students' educational goals and programs. 5. Build and maintain relationships with employees, industry, partners, and alumni networks to create job placement and internship opportunities. Action 2. Direct the central office to notify the students of this action. This order shall be filed with the Association office, added to the record, and it shall become effective upon filing and remain in force until rescinded by the President of the Association or following other procedures. This order shall become executive law and special order to remain beyond the session.
Moving to the next item, Section 6, 1-minute floor speeches. New this session, we are going to be testing out 1-minute floor speeches. In lieu of senators using public forum as a mechanism to address the Senate, any senator may seek recognition to give a speech on a subject of their choice not exceeding 1 minute in duration. 1-minute speeches are focused on specific topics. Senators may only hold the floor once during this period. Are there any senators wishing to use this time? No? Okay. Moving to the next item, Section 7, Public Forum. Public Forum provides a chance for individuals to have the privilege of speaking before the Senate, limited to 3 minutes only. This is a time for the Senate to listen to what the community has to say, and to that we offer our undivided respect and attention. I would like to remind everyone that though we allow the speakers the privilege to use this platform, the opinions of the speakers do not reflect the opinions of the association. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Yes.
Long walk up here. Hello, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Adriana Owens, and I'm a new graduate student in the School of Criminal Justice here at Wichita State University. I had the honor of serving as a senator during all 4 years of my undergraduate experience, and I'm incredibly proud to discuss here and be able to use this platform, not only in my emeritus status, but also to speak to you all regarding the elections coming up. First, I want to express how excited I am to see so many amazing and qualified new and returning senators in this room, and some who will probably step forward for their speakership. Today, I want to voice my full support for Senator Owens, who I know as Victoria, as Speaker of the 68th session. Victoria's experience speaks for itself. 4 years of active engagement in SGA, including serving as chairperson of academic affairs in the 65th session, chair of student services in the 66th session, and most recently, the 6th Speaker of the Student Senate in the 67th session. Coming into the 68th session, this body needs a speaker who can build and empower someone who can help new senators understand the ins and outs of this space while ensuring that Senate remains focused, fair, and functional. Victoria is that person. This session will face complex and serious challenges that other sessions did not. From navigating funding decision to addressing pressing concerns around diversity and inclusion, having someone at the helm who has already proven her ability to handle this role with poise, professionalism, and a people-first approach is not just an advantage, it's a gift. When I first started in the 64th session, which honestly feels like 100 years ago, I remember feeling completely lost. Though I appreciate the efforts of our speaker at the time, there were still many gaps I had to figure out on my own. It took nearly a full year to feel fully confident and grasp the processes and procedures of the Senate. Victoria can be that bridge for new senators, someone who helps shorten the learning curve and ensures no one feels like they have to go it alone. She has already proven her commitment to creating an accessible and supportive Senate environment in the 67th session, where most senators were brand new. Victoria implemented transition guides for incoming senators, encouraged all chairpersons to provide transition materials to their committee members, and helped establish committee of the whole sessions, which were informal spaces where senators could openly discuss major topics and ask questions before formal proceedings. She also supported the creation of senator development meetings where leaderships could pass on key knowledge and insights and help new senators grow. I also had the privilege of serving as student services chair during that session, which meant Victoria was my speaker and also my boss, which meant Victoria was someone who brought such a humanity to the role. She never forgot that we were students and humans first, and she consistently led with the understanding that while holding these positions is a privilege, she provided unwavering support. She created an environment where we could thrive. So to the senators of the 68th session, you are being asked to choose your leader. When you choose a speaker, you are choosing your Senate leadership, someone who will shape the way this body learns, works, and serves. While I'll admit I'm a bit biased, I genuinely believe Victoria is exceptional at bringing out the best in those around her. She leads with grace, mentors with patience, and serves with integrity. To the job of senators, it is for us and you guys to serve the students. The job of speaker is to serve and support the senators. And for that job, Victoria is the right choice. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in public forum? The floor is yours.
Hello, my name is Katie Lanning. I'm an assistant professor in the English department at Wichita State. And I want to thank Senators Mallard and Otten for taking the initiative to put together an act to advocate for the more transparent policy of WSU Libraries collection management. In fact, what you are asking for is considered best practice. The American Library Association states that academic libraries' policies for reappraisal and deaccessioning materials should be, and this is a direct quote, disseminated widely for understanding by all stakeholders. I also want to applaud you for including in your act a call for a joint committee of librarians, faculty, and students to help with collections management decisions. I believe this kind of shared responsibility better reflects the mission of our institution than our library's current policy. Thank you very much.
Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none. Would anyone else like to speak in public forum? Okay, moving on. Moving to the next item, Section 8, Introductions and Reports. 8.1, Report from the Executive Branch. President Wong.
Good evening, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Jongwon Wong, the 68th Session Student Body President. Amy Wen is obviously the new Student Body Vice President. I wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone who attended the inauguration. As I've been saying for the past few weeks, I'm very excited to be starting in this role, and I look forward to working with you all based on belonging, intentionality, and persistence. So a few updates from the executive branch. We are currently in the middle of interviews for cabinet positions. We've seen a lot of potential promise so far, and so we're hoping to get them all fully appointed and confirmed by next week. On top of that, Amy and I have decided to create 2 new positions, as you all heard, a director of athletics and a director of professional opportunities. A director of athletic engagement would allow more connection between students and athletes. Time and time again, we've seen student concerns about the gap between athletics and the greater campus community. We hope that by appointing a director specifically to this role, we will be able to bridge that gap. Additionally, we created a director of professional opportunities to integrate the Shocker Career Accelerator and the foundation and alumni engagement to better overall into the student campus community. Additionally, we have heard multiple concerns of students that they struggle with finding professional opportunities or knowing what resources there are to assist them. This will be a great way for SGA to be able to build and maintain relationships with the academic departments and industry partners. Senate obviously is holding the speaker elections tonight. After that, there will be one more meeting before we go into summer recess, where I will be putting those cabinet appointments out. As for the advocates, undergraduate advocate Wassinger still has 5 cases, while graduate advocate Tran has 2, as they are working through it until we can appoint the next advocates and transition them properly.
Are there any questions? Good evening, Senators. Hey. So it is truly an honor to welcome you to the 68th session of the Senate. Sitting here today, I don't just feel the weight of tradition, I feel the opportunity that it's in front of us. Each one of you brings something unique to this space, and together we have the power to shape the direction of our university in ways that matter deeply. To our new senators, welcome. I know stepping into this role can feel overwhelming at first, but you're not here by accident. You're here because your voice matters, your perspective matters, and we're lucky to have you. To our returning members, thank you for your continued leadership and for setting the tone for what the Senate can accomplish. Wichita State is more than classrooms and buildings. It's a living, breathing community full of passion, ideas, and potential. And this Senate, it's where the potential turns into progress. It's where conversations begin, change is sparked, and actions take root. We have work to do this session, important work. We'll talk about equity, access, affordability, representation, the well-being of our students. These aren't just agenda items, they're lived realities for the people we represent. And every time we speak, vote, or listen in this room, we're doing it on behalf of the entire Shocker community. And I want you to know something, that I am here for you every step of the way, whether it's working through policy, navigating challenges, or just needing someone to bounce ideas off of. I've got your back. We are in this together, because being in leadership isn't about being in front, it's about walking beside others. It's about making space, lifting voices, and never letting anyone feel like they have to carry it all on their own. So this year, let's show up with courage, let's lead with empathy, let's hold each other accountable, and let's move forward together. The work we do here matters, and so do you. Thank you for being here, thank you for believing in this university, and thank you for trusting me to walk this journey with you. Let's make this 68th session one to remember. Thank you. Moving on to 8.2, report from the President's Budget Advisory Committee.
Hi, everybody. Just when you thought you could get rid of me, I'm back. Okay, sorry. I want to preface this by saying that I'm not like a budget expert, so I'm going to give you guys what they told me, but lovely Treasurer Wong, previous Treasurer Wong, 119 Student Body President Wong is up here to help aid me in answering your burning questions. So we had our Budget Advisory Committee meeting a couple days ago, and this is essentially here to provide you all with some context for what we're going to be presenting to the Kansas Board of Regents coming May 14th. So some things to keep in mind this year with our fiscal year 26 budget proposal. We've faced some challenges as a university. First of all, enrollment for international students has decreased by 22% for the year. And for some context, international students actually pay the highest tuition rates out of all students. So this is hurting our university substantially, as well as we're expecting decreased state and national funding support. Historically, the state has helped fund compensation increases, benefit cost increases, and then increases in one-time costs, operational expenses, and inflationary costs. We are not anticipating that they will provide us with as much support as they historically have, so that will also hit us hard. And then also, if y'all have been paying attention, or if you heard, I think last week or a couple weeks ago, when the athletic director, Kevin Saul, came and talked about the NCAA Athletics House settlement, which I will get into in a second, but that's also going to cost our university a little bit. So examining the overall budget, starting with compensation, we are required to do 2.5% market-based compensation. So the state is providing us with $1.8 million to help in our priority departments, and we are having to match those dollars with tuition increase. So match it with tuition funds for a $1 million pool. And we're having to find that with, like I said, tuition and departmental cuts and things like that. And again, that is to increase market-based compensation. So for some of the priority departments in the university, they're not quite being funded up to what they need to be. So that's what that's for. And then enrollment, like I mentioned earlier, with that 22% decrease in international student enrollment, that translates to about $5.7 million that we're not getting, that we thought we were going to get. So that's already putting us at $5.7 million less than our fiscal year 2025 adopted budget, which was $99.3 million. And then with our state funding, the SGF funding is primarily focused on compensation this year. Like I said, the state's going to give us $1.8 million for market-based compensation funding. They're not funding the feasibility study for the dental school. So if you've been paying attention to that, we are trying to get a dental school for Wichita State, and they were not going to fund the feasibility study for that. And then NISS funding to KBOR was reduced from $9 million to $6 million, so that's an additional $3 million that we're not getting to the state. And then they're not going to fund operational and inflationary funding increases. And then with the Athletics House settlement, for anyone who is not familiar, this is a requirement in order for our university to maintain Division I status within the NCAA, and that is incredibly important to our university. This is a branding opportunity for our university, and athletics contributes about $50 million with direct economic impact to the Wichita community and the surrounding region. And it is a great opportunity to put ourselves on the market nationally for donors and things like that. So it's important for our university to maintain Division I athletics status. But with that prior context, we're looking at about $2.8 billion across all NCAA institutions for this settlement. Basically, they've identified that certain NIL athletes have been undercompensated for their work. And so this lawsuit is trying to give them more compensation for the athletes that we had with lost NIL opportunities, and then for future athletes from here on out. So for our university, it's compensating athletes that participated in NIL sports from 2019 to 2024 for that. So we're going to have to pay $5 million recurring. $650,000 of that is back pay for the next 10 years to support the athletes that we've had previously in our athletic programs, and that will just be for the next 10 years. But $4.3 million we will have to pay for revenue sharing for future athletes that come through our program forever, for as long as we are Division I. And then another $2 million that we have to pay recurring every year for general operating support. So that's a total of $7 million that we're going to have to contribute yearly for as long as we want to maintain Division I status. And of that $7 million that we owe, half of that is going to be funded through the new budget and reworking some things and increasing tuition and things like that. And the other half is going to be funded through residual reserves from research. Some things to keep in mind about our athletics program: we are the second lowest in institutional support generated dollars compared to all other NCAA institutions that do not also have football programs. So sometimes I know it can feel like the return on investment with athletics is not that high, but we realistically, compared to other NCAA schools that don't have football programs, are not paying our athletics program as much as other schools are, and we are the highest in self-generated revenue compared to other institutions without football programs. So our athletics department generates about $13.3 million in self-generated revenue for themselves every year, which is really good. So overall budgetary challenge this year, we are trying to address a $10.8 million budgetary challenge in order to bring ourselves up to a balanced budget. So the university is proposing a 3.9% tuition increase, which would generate about $3.8 million. And this is the absolute max that they are comfortable increasing with potential room for reevaluation. Basically, they said if we get to cable on May 14th and no one else is increasing tuition, it would look kind of bad for us to increase our tuition by that much. So there's potential for it to be lower, but this is what we should be expecting, and what you, I hope, will be passing on to your constituents and to your peers after this meeting, is that we're anticipating a 3.9% tuition increase. And I know that that could sound like a pretty daunting number, but when broken down, I say this lightly, but it's only about $146 per semester for your traditional 15 credit hour paying student. And then in order to offset the cost of increasing tuition, they have promised that all other course fees will be held flat, student fees in support of student health services, and the athletics fee are also going to be held flat. And then hopefully you guys all know, and we're tuning into the student fees hearings, but our student fees that we decided as SGA are also being held flat this year to kind of offset that increase in tuition cost. And then also to help address this $10.8 million budgetary challenge, they are opting to cut GU-based budgets by 4.8% across every division, which would generate about $7.2 million. And they've said that in order to help these departments as much as possible, they're going to continue to focus on identifying efficiencies where they can, so focusing on better hiring review, what services we can share between departments, maximizing faculty use, maximizing utilities, and things like that. But yeah, that's basically the gist of everything. We're looking at a 3.9% tuition increase and a 4.8% cut to all divisions. Does anyone have any questions? So I just ate that down, or what? Okay, that's what we like to hear. Okay, thank you guys. It's good to see you all again. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the 68th session. Woo!
Moving on to 8.3, report from the central office.
Hi. So really quick, couple things. This was really a carry forward from last session, but the student government's main office is still closed this week. We're doing some renovations to the space. There was a lot of holes on the wall and things messed up. Not blaming the last session, but I'm not. So our hope is that it will reopen next week when we're finished with paint drying and all those other pieces. So just wanted to let you know about that. And then additionally, as we get ready for summer, for folks who have questions about the soccer sport locker, it will be open all summer as long as the building hours are open. The locker itself will be open as well, still providing that service to students as well. And just a final couple last pushes, student government scholarships that SJ provides every year are still open. Those applications close on Friday. Those include the summer endowed scholarship for any students who are taking summer classes, as well as the general endowed scholarship that SJ has. So if you or your constituents need some scholarships for the upcoming year, those are on the SJ website and available until Friday for people to apply. In addition, hardship funds for the year don't open until August, so those are closed as funding has exhausted for both of those programs, but those have closed until the fall semester when we resume that as well. And I think that's it. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Senator Mallard.
Do you happen to know the hours for the Success Center over the summer?
No, but I know the locker will be open from 10 to 5. I don't think that, I would assume the Success Center will be open from 8 to 5, but the locker itself will be open from 10 to 5.
Senator Murphy?
For those, for those scholarships, how many are there available to, or how many are available for students?
The general endowed scholarship has 8 that are available, and then the summer endowed scholarship can go up to 15. 15 students, not 15, I should clarify, 15 students and 8 students, not 8,000 and 15,000. That'd be crazy. Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
Yeah, thank you.
Moving to the next item, Section 9, Consent Agenda. Seeing no items. Moving to the next item, Section 10, Pending Business. Seeing no items. Moving to the next item, Section 11, Election of the Speaker of the Senate. Advisor Fonseca.
The Speaker of the Senate serves as the presiding officer of the Senate and head of the legislative branch at the pleasure of the Senate. The Speaker must be elected to the Senate and will serve in the line of succession to the office of the presidency. Soon, the President of the Senate will open the floor for nominations. If you would like to nominate a senator to the speakership or would like to self-nominate yourself, please raise your hand and you'll be called on to state your nomination and or offer a nomination speech if you wish. Following the nomination and or nomination speeches, nominees must accept their nomination in order to be added to the ballot. Are there any questions? And this is also the time if there are questions about what the speaker is or what the speaker does, I'm happy to answer those questions as well.
Senator Hatch.
Just for clarification, do we give a nomination and then give a speech when everybody is removed from the room, or do we give a speech and the nomination as one if we want to?
Great question. So if you are being nominated by someone, that person can deliver, like say I was going to nominate you for speaker, I could deliver a nomination speech as to why I'm nominating you, or I can just say your name and nominate you there. The individual senators have the ability to do either or. If you yourself have been nominated, you won't deliver your speech until that process begins during the presentation of the nominees portion. Does that make sense? Okay.
Any other questions?
Okay.
Thank you, Advisor Fonseca. Before we get started, if you are sitting in the second row and you would like to nominate someone, just raise up your name tag. But at this time, the nomination period is open. Are there any nominations? Senator Pang.
I would like to nominate Matthew Fawn.
Senator Fawn, do you accept this nomination?
Yes.
Are there any other nominations? Senator Hatch.
I would like to nominate Senator Victoria Owens.
Senator Owens, do you accept this nomination?
I do.
Are there any other nominations? Senator Lewis.
I'd like to nominate Senator Haynes.
Senator Haynes, do you accept this nomination?
Actually, I decline. Sorry.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? Okay. Final. Any last call? All right. Okay. At this time, the nominees for Speaker are Matthew Fawn and Victoria Owens. We will begin with the presentation of nominations by order of nomination. Student Body President Wong shall serve as the doorkeeper. During the presentations, all other nominees will be excused from the chambers until called on. At this time, we will dismiss the other nominees from the chambers. Senator Fawn, you may approach. Sorry. Senator Fawn, you have 5 minutes to speak on your nomination.
Thank you. So good evening, Senators. It's a great honor and privilege to be nominated as Speaker of the Student Senate. For those of you that may not know me, my name is Matthew Fawn. I'm a third year. I'm going to my fourth year, mechanical engineering major, minoring in mathematics. I'm currently serving as an engineering senator, and I have been in SGA for 3 years now, going into my fourth year. In my first year in SGA, I served as a member of the Freshman Leadership Council, where I had the opportunity to serve on the Student Organizations Council. In the 66th session, I served as an engineering senator, where I had the privilege of serving on the first ever Government Oversight Committee, where I served as the clerk in addition to my role as a senator. Additionally, I serve on the Finance and Student Fees Committees as an engineering commissioner, where I went through the appropriations and student fees processes for the first time. Besides my Senate and Commissioner roles, I serve as a student representative on the Parking Appeals Committee, the Raccoon Student Center Board of Directors, and the Scholarship Committee. I also went to Topeka for Higher Education Day within that session. In the 67th session, I was elected the Student Body Vice President with Emeritus President Kylie Hauer. Our goals that we had were retention, outreach, sustainability, and engagement. In my role, I serve as the president of the Senate, so if you watch any of our Senate live streams, you will see me sitting at the very front with the then Speaker, Senator Victoria Owens. And I ran one meeting and stepped in a couple other times for that. In my role as Vice President, I also serve as the Vice Chair for the Finance Commission, the Chair of the Association Hardship Fund Tournament Select Committee, the Student Affairs Advisory Board, the RC Board of Directors. I continue serving on the Parking Appeals Committee, the University's Parking and Transportation Committee, the Student Organizations Council, the Disability Accessibility Pride Task Force, the Funding Task Force, and the Agency Board of Directors, in addition to 2 University Search Committees, in addition to several other things. I have extensive experience writing bills and resolutions. Last session, I directly sponsored a total of 9 bills, among them having amendments to the way we do our hardship funds, membership review board amendments, and a couple emeritus resolutions for many of our amazing people in the back, including Chairperson Andrew Bonnet, President Kylie Hauer, and Chairperson Adriana Owens, all amazing people. I have 3 goals as the Speaker of the Student Senate. My 3 goals that I would like to address are senator retention, outreach, and intentionality. For senator retention, I believe it is paramount that Senate leadership has a personal connection to each and every senator here in this space, and that we support senators every step of the way for legislation, no matter how we view that legislation. Too often, we lose many senators over winter and summer break in addition to the end of the semesters, and I would like to address this issue. This means I will reinstitute senator one-on-ones with the Speaker, not necessarily doing committee the whole time, but in separate time periods. Have more informal sessions outside Wednesdays where we can work on legislation and amend the way we do committee of the whole moving forward. For outreach, I believe it's essential that we as a student government reach out to our colleges and constituents as much as possible. I will connect senators to their deans and college advisory boards. In addition, I made template presentations and training presentations for visits to recognized student organizations and for visits to RSOs and tabling events in addition to first-year seminars and other agencies. For intentionality, I firmly believe that we must follow our bylaws, and that we must be intentional in the way that we approach reaching out and communicating with our constituents and writing legislation to address those concerns. We must not become complacent or apathetic in our role as a student government. So you may ask, how do you know that you'll follow through on these promises? And my response is that I've already started many of these initiatives in previous sessions. I connected several senators to their deans and to their advisory boards last semester, and I spoke to every dean of each college that we had here at Wichita State. In addition, I visited 40 recognized student organizations and classes with President Hauer, Director Chauhan, the former Director of Student Organizations, and with so many other amazing senators. As Speaker, I will expect much from our chairpersons and from you all. I will push senators to write legislations within their committees, but also I expect chairpersons to push their senators as well. I believe in hearing what every senator has to say during our Senate meetings, but I also believe that we must make decisions at certain points and move on. For my own personal initiatives as a senator, I will focus on parking initiatives, finishing out the resolution that, finishing out a proposal that I'm currently writing with Chairperson Emeritus Owens. Yes, and
Your
I'll
time
stand
has
for
ended.
the 2 minutes of questions.
Yes. The floor is now open for 3 minutes for questions and answers by members of the Senate. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Senator Sauls?
Can you go ahead and finish what you were saying right there?
I had 2 sentences left, so I would say I value authenticity, respect, and the value of hard work. And if you vote for me, I've got your back. But that's pretty much all I had to say left.
So sorry about that. Can you raise your name? Sorry. Senator Izzard?
When you say reforming the way that we do committee of the wholes in the future, could you go a little bit more into what you envision for that?
Yeah, absolutely. For committee of the whole, I think we have to be more intentional about the way we approach it. Sometimes I think senator development is very valuable, especially at the beginning of the session when we have our senators, newer senators come in. But I also believe that sometimes it may not be as productive as we may have hoped. So sometimes I think that for some Senate meetings, I don't think we need to have committee of the whole. Instead, start a little bit earlier. But I'm very interested to see moving forward what senators want to see in their senator development.
Senator Pang?
Just a point of clarification to Dr. Fonseca. Could you explain to the newer senators what committee of the whole is?
I think I'll do that when he's done with his time so that we don't eat into his time, if that's okay.
Senator Barnes?
Can you tell us what you like about the other nominee?
Absolutely. I believe Sarah Owens is a truly amazing person. We worked together a lot last session with both of us up there. I believe she's very passionate and authentic, and she does truly believe what she's doing is best for our student body and for our Senate. I really do admire her dedication to our Senate. I would say I'm proud to call her a friend, and I know she'll probably say the same if you asked her.
Senator Bum?
So it sounds like you certainly have a lot on your plate when it comes to your involvement on this campus. How do you plan on, spreading your time appropriately?
Yeah, that's an amazing question. So reading off all of those things, I'm very involved on campus. I think the biggest thing for me is the accountability aspect, having someone else hold you accountable to make sure I'm reaching the goals that I need to, and that ranges all the way from Dr. Fonseca, my other advisors from my other organization. In addition, moving forward, Speaker of the Student Senate is definitely a lot less time as the Vice President of the Student Government Association, so I do expect that'll be a lot less time on my plate. And then for the other things I'm involved in, for Community Service Board, I'm the president of that, but that's really only a few hours out of my week. And my other engineering organization, we're definitely I'm definitely training new people to take on the role, but I'm, with time management, it's something that I kind of learned to grow into and manage that a lot better, and having more organized schedules and routine one-on-ones just to make sure I'm on track.
We have time for one last question. It was Senator Pang.
With last session, we kind of had a gap between exec branch as well as legislative branch. How do you plan on fixing that gap?
Yeah, absolutely. So as the former student body vice president, I have a unique perspective on how both the legislative and the executive branches work, and I am committed to working further with the executive branch on moving forward several initiatives that we have, and I would say I have a great working relationship with the members that we have in our executive branch, and I have the connections across the university to connect senators to different leadership for the different initiatives people may have also.
Thank you, Senator Fawn. President Wong, please invite the other nominee, and Senator Fawn, you are dismissed. Senator Owens, the floor is now yours for 5 minutes to speak on your nomination.
Why, thank you. Good to see you all, and hello, friends. So a little bit about me. I'm Victoria Owens. I'm majoring in political science and sociology with minors in women's studies and student organizational leadership. So about my involvement, my sophomore year at WSU, I was a resident assistant during this time in housing. I supported 55 students by developing comprehensive programs on diversity, substance abuse, academic performance, and financial wellness. I remained on call for over 24 hours during designated weekends and exercised problem-solving capabilities and addressing student conflicts and problems. I work closely with a lot of our services on campus, so Hope Services, Care Team, CAPS, really anything, you name it. I work closely with them and know them very personally there as well. So that's kind of my experience in that end when it comes to supporting students and also working with other initiatives and those kinds of things on campus. I'm also on our Mata UN team here at Wichita State University. In this role, I attend conferences every single year. And we address our world's most pressing global issues. I've attended 8 conferences at the university thus far, and recently got a position paper award on my research in protecting World Heritage Sites, which is a really important issue to me and to the global community as well. And the SGA piece I'm sure you're waiting for. Over the last 4 years, I've served in the Senate. This is kind of like my second home. It's definitely my third place. And I served as an LES senator in the 64th session, the Academic Affairs Chairperson in the 65th session, and then the Student Services Chairperson in the 66th session, and then the Speaker of the Senate this last session, the 67th session. I can truly say this has always been my biggest thing on campus, my main priority, and my greatest joy to advocate for students here on campus. But this past session, as a speaker, I set out to create a culture of accessibility within this space, especially for our new senators. We had a primarily new Senate, and it was really important for me to establish that kind of accessibility that has not existed in this space in past sessions. Sitting in these chairs for the first time is an incredibly daunting and honestly confusing and disorienting experience, because honestly, you're just thrust into the position, expected to know everything, and then you're like, what's going on? So in turn, I created a 20-page senator transition guide to act as a how-to for senators entering and returning to this space, because I know that the power of preparation is incredibly important. I also tasked each committee chair with creating their own personal committee guides to transition to their new senators into each of their areas. I made necessary changes to the structure of the Senate, implemented new weekly meetings instead of bi-weekly meetings so that we didn't have to get kind of bogged down in legislation. I also created senator development meetings to provide our members with hands-on experience. This could be constituent works, this could be legislative writing. That kind of stuff is really important to me to establish those hands-on learning experiences. And then I also authored a constitutional bylaw amendment, which allowed our speaker to implement new members into the Senate when we were kind of dwindling in numbers last session because we didn't have the opportunity to, out of breath over here, but we didn't have the opportunity to reestablish members in the Senate. So I created that and established that back in the space so we can have a full and vibrant Senate. I also advocated for Senate on the Finance Commission. I've been on every committee you can think of, the Academic Affairs Committee, the Parking Committee, General Education Committee, Library Committee, Undergraduate Research Committee, literally everything when it comes to each one of our committee chairs. I've overseen or allowed our senators to sit in those spaces, so I'm deeply knowledgeable of our university's processes in this space. Now, my 3 kind of platform points here are outreach. A huge part of the work of the Senate is reaching out to the student body. I will be at the first to say there's a lot more work we can do of this body to reach out to students and to also do that kind of work. And as the academic affairs chairs, we reached out to first-year seminars and classes to discuss SGA. We gave presentations to improve our election results, and that worked phenomenally. And then Sophie Martins, who headed that campaign, also went to serve as our vice president. And then accessibility is so crucial to ensure that while you're doing the hard work of the body, that the space is safe, accessible, and that we have a sense of community in this room so that we can build community outside of this room. I had the great opportunity to work alongside Senator Izzard on the ADHD Autism or Learning Disability Support Fund this last session. which was really a fantastic opportunity to improve accessibility in our broader campus community. Then I was able to work with the undergraduate advocate Annie Wassinger on the Accessibility and Disability Pride Task Force, which also does similar things, but talks about ADA requirements and how to meet those accommodations for professors and OSAT, those kinds of things. And then accountability, my last point. So our association's bylaws remain, okay, thank you.
Your time is now over, but the floor is now open for 3 minutes for questions and answers by members of the Senate. Senator Salles.
Can you finish your last point, please?
Hey, thank you. So accountability in this space is especially necessary because we have our bylaws to follow. Our bylaws is our super, super long document in stating what we can or can't do within this body, and it's incredibly necessary that this body not only understands these bylaws, but also that it's accessibility to you all as new or returning senators, because that's a long document and that's a lot of rules. So it's incredibly necessary that we have someone with experience to not only alter those bylaws as it see fits, but also to make sure we're following those bylaws and they're remaining accountable to not only our peers within this institution itself, but also the broader campus community. I remember a time where we didn't necessarily fulfill our bylaw obligations, and this year I think we really did some really good work to make sure we were.
Any other questions? Senator Auden.
As speaker last year, what is something that you really struggled with that you would that you would like to really work on for this session?
That's a great question, thank you. I think in any new Senate, we came into an entirely new restructured Senate. We had entirely different committee chairperson roles. Instead of 8 roles, we had 4 as Senate leadership. And then we also reformulated our Senate process. Instead of bi-weekly meetings, we had weekly meetings. And then we also had a litany of issues that comes with each session. I think what's really different and really unique about this position is that each year we've had 6 speakers so far, so we've always had someone new in that role. And that's a fantastic thing. But it's also a little bit different because they have to learn the ropes, the ins and outs, everything about that role. What I hope to build on this year is because I've already been speaker, I already know how to do the job. Now I know how to do it better. So my role would be, okay, how do I build upon this progress? How do I, make better senator development meetings? Because, some of them are great, but after getting feedback from the Senate, it was like, let's do a little bit more here. Okay, then let's do that. Or let's do Friday optional work nights so that people can come into this space and be like, I really need a space to work on this thing and talk to my peers. That's something we can build on. We can always do more and do better. And I think that's something that I strive to do in this position and strive to continue to do now that I already have that foundational basis and knowledge. I can do that extra work to meet the executive branch where they are, meet students where they are, and to just really do more in this position.
Senator Murphy.
So you had mentioned that you had gotten feedback on senator development meetings, and there are some things that you'd like to implement. Could you be a little bit more specific on things that you'd like to change about that?
Thank you for the chance to answer that question. So our legislation process is a little bit different, lengthy, and confusing, frankly. In my experience with Montague and also this institution in the last 4 years, legislation writing is incredibly convoluted because you have to know a certain verbiage in order to even begin writing legislation, which is incredibly challenging for new senators to transition into this space, which is why I want to make it more accessible. So coming into the midterm election, which was established in the 66th session, it was incredibly important for us to transition and onboard our new senators in this space who are coming in a little bit later after all the other senators. So I'd like to build on that momentum, build on that progress, do more legislative workshops, and also maybe do a mixing or mingling with faculty senate and staff senate, which I'm incredibly comfortable because I've sat on both of those. So I know those processes. Have more people come. Have Isabella Medea Kaiser come as the director of OSAT. Have her come talk about, whatever the things she needs to do. Maybe do career development. Anything that the senators need is my priority. Really, to me, being the speaker is serving you all so you can serve the students.
Sadly, our time is up, but the presentation of the nominees is now over. We will begin the debating portion of the election. At this time, all nominees for speaker are dismissed until the debating has ended. Does anyone wish to speak in debate? Senator Hatch.
Hello, everybody. It's really exciting to see so many new faces. Okay, so I nominated Senator Owens because she has more than earned a second speakership. She is a wonderfully kind, intelligent, hardworking, and extremely approachable person, all qualities I find important in a leadership position geared towards uplifting and allowing others' visions and voices to be heard. She is still one of the most connected and informed people in the student government, given her years and experience in various roles such as the Finance Commission, time as a chairperson in 2 committees, and time as a resident assistant. She has been a member of Hardship Committee, Agency Board of Directors, RSC Board of Directors, the Banquet Committee, Parking Appeals Committee, Disability and Pride Task Force, and has been active in meetings with Faculty Senate. This extensive list of positions serving the student body allows her to be an amazing resource for everyone here. I have seen her put her own life and priorities on hold to help senators with everything from writing bills to getting connected to the correct resources to being there for senators' personal issues, as well as other duties related to benefiting SGA and the entire student body as a whole. She lives public service through her time in her various other volunteer roles such as Loud Light, and has been the embodiment of what speakership can and should be. She struck a wonderful balance all year between allowing opinions to be heard on every issue, even when she disagrees, expressing her own views in a way that does not strong-arm the Senate, something leadership typically struggles to do, while also keeping the Senate on topic when we have strayed. While Senator Fon is an excellent candidate for the speakership, I struggle to see how someone could better facilitate the Senate in our mission to serve the student body simply by looking at how well her first year has gone. Her personality and disposition match the role so well, and she is constantly checking herself to make sure she is doing things to uplift senators' voices, not her own opinion. She has been the best speaker I have seen here, which is really saying something because both Junior and Kylie were amazing at their jobs in the previous 2 sessions, and incredibly approachable and kind people as well. She has improved the role as well as the role of all leadership positions by making transition guides for those to follow, improving committee of the whole meetings, among other changes that she has talked about herself. If you all vote for her, I really can't wait to see what she can do with a year of experience under her belt.
Senator Pang.
The reason I'd vote for Senator Fon was because most of us know him as Matthew or Vice President Fon. For me, I just know him as Matthew. I see him out in the hallway. He's always greeting. If you're ever in the SGA office, he is in there 24/7, always available for the students here. While as Vice President, it is a busy job, but as Speaker, he does have more time, and I do not expect that time to be more busier with his schedule. He does make time for his students, as well as most of us have seen him tabling out, encouraging students to talk about SGA. As he had mentioned, he has spoken to many student organizations, as well as without him, I wouldn't have met my college dean. I wouldn't have been able to get in touch with my college dean nor plan up some ideas about it. So if you had vote for Matthew Fon, I believe that he can truly make time for each senator personally and help you out with your personal goals within the Senate.
Senator Hansen.
Well, I believe that both of these candidates are absolutely amazing and both would do absolutely beautifully as Speaker. I'll be voting in affirmation for Victoria Owens. Victoria is just absolutely brilliant. She's one of the most graceful leaders I know. I mean, not many people can lead a group of college students at 1 a.m. through a $900,000 deficit during student fees, but Victoria did, and she did it amazingly. I've learned more from Victoria than I have anyone else in SGA, and I just think that she would do wonderfully and deserves a second chance.
Senator Murphy, and then we'll go to you.
I will be voting for Senator Fon. Last year, I was a new senator, and I had communicated interests and issues that I was wanting to address. And Matthew, even though he wasn't the speaker, he was the president of the Senate in his role as vice president, he helped me get in touch with the Dean of Fine Arts. He helped me get in touch with the athletic director, Kevin Saul, because I expressed interest in bridging relations with athletics. He brought me along to, I think, 3 RSO visits for groups that would fall under the umbrella of fine arts related. He went out of his way, even though he didn't have to, that wasn't his job. He still helped me get acclimated and connected in ways that I was never expecting him to do. And because of that, I'll be voting for Senator Fawn.
Senator Mallard.
I want to reiterate some of the sentiment that both candidates are absolutely amazing. I mean, Owens was speaker and Fawn was vice president, so they both have tremendous, tremendous experience. And I want to say, I think everyone can agree with us, any of our sentiments, we're not trying to say that the other one is not great. I think we all agree that they're all amazing. Personally, I will be voting for Fawn. One of my reasons is I got to be with him in the community service board and him as the president. I've got to see how he does his process, and also in student government. I believe that he, with a lot of his connections and reaching out to people, he's been able to get those to run. And also, if we look at the engineering senators, he made our engineering senators almost at full capacity, or basically there. And not just that, but he has sat up at that table with the speaker. And for me personally, I always love to just have someone new who can bring new ideas to the table. And he has new ideas for committee to the whole. And I know that they both do, but personally, I would like to see what Matthew Fawn can do.
Andrew, I saw your hand next.
While Andrew is coming up, I just want to kind of explain why he is coming up. The last session, a couple of folks were granted emeritus status. Emeritus is ability for former members of student government to come and address the Senate whenever they seek recognition to do so. So that is why he is able to speak. Because normally during debating process, only senators and those who have speaking privileges are allowed to do so. So this is just, if you were wondering, like, wait, he's not a senator. Yes, but he is an emeritus holder, so he's able to do so.
Hello, everybody. So since there are a lot of new faces, I will go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Andrew Bobbitt. Last session, I served as the Government Oversight Chairperson and a graduate senator. Today, I come before you to speak in affirmation of Senator Victoria Owens for the speakership. The reason that I support Victoria as a candidate is because I believe the Senate needs a strong voice that is independent of the executive branch for this next session. We are going to experience a lot of difficulties as a university, and the Senate is going to have to make a lot of tough choices. And while I commend the work that the Vice President did in the previous session, I do believe that his personal relationships may make it difficult to represent the voice of the Senate independent of the kind of wishes and desires of the executive branch. Victoria and the speakership in general last year gets to occupy a lot of spaces, and there's a lot of trust put into the position and the individual filling it. As she said in her speech, the speaker not only kind of serves to represent the interests of the body, but they speak on behalf of the Senate in a lot of spaces and a lot of different rooms. We guarantee a seat for the speaker in the appropriations process, the finance committee, the student fees process, and Victoria has shown time and time again that she can put aside her personal beliefs and desires to adequately and best represent the position of the Senate. This is a quality that is admirable in anyone, and I saw nothing but compassion and understanding from Victoria all last year. While we may have disagreed on a variety of issues and represented very different opinions on things, Victoria was always able to understand where I was coming from and work with me as a chairperson to find common ground and promote the best decision and direction that she could for the Senate. Well, I once again do want to say that both candidates are exceptional people who have a wide variety of leadership. I do believe that given the challenges and uncertainty we face in the next session, it would be good to continue some leadership. Victoria has shown that she is more than capable of shepherding the Senate through difficult times, and I would ask all of you, especially those of you who are new, What type of leader do you want the next year? Do you want someone who can take the difficult times and push through and persevere? Overall, my final message to you guys is think of not only the students you represent, but the entire student body. How can we make sure that the Senate is a strong and competent body next year? This past session, we divested ourselves of a lot of the senatorial powers, and I think that we do need to make sure we are doing our best and kind of upholding the oath and commitment that we have given to the student body. Thank you.
Senator Auden.
Hello. Many of you may know me as Abby, now Senator Auden, and I have watched the student government meetings for the last 3 years, but it took until Senator Owens took the role as speaker for me to really feel like I could be a part of this and sit in this room and speak and represent other fellow engineering students. So I truly feel that we should go into this next session with Senator Owens as our speaker and just have her lead us through the next session. But thank you.
Senator Ping.
Just wanted to go back to my point of clarification to Dr. Fonseca about what a committee of the whole and senator development is for the newer senators.
Committee of the whole is a time for the Senate. Typically, it happens right, not typically. It happens right after committee, but right before Senate, and it's where non-formal business of the student government can take place, whether reviewing legislation, having workshops or presentations by leaders and whatnot. So it's just that in-between committee time and full Senate that the Senate has right now in the bylaws to have.
Ms. Kiley.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm here today to be speaking in favor of Matthew Fawn for the speakership. First and foremost, to address the elephant in the room, obviously he was my vice president last year, but I want us all to think about why I chose him to be my vice president in the first place. Coming into the role of speaker, I was familiar with Matthew in the 66th session. He did amazing work in the Government Oversight Committee. And when I was thinking of someone that I wanted to be by my side for the entirety of the 67th session, there was no one that fit the bill more perfectly. He may have a lot of other commitments on campus. I know we've addressed some of those concerns previously in this room. He's a busy guy, but I have never met someone who balances it all more perfectly than Matthew does in his role as Community Service Board President, in his role as ASME Vice President, and in every single organization he is involved in, he gives that organization his all when he needs to, and he balances it all so perfectly, as well as staying on top of his academics. I always thought it was funny last year, I'm not gonna ramble, but I always thought it was funny last year, like whenever I would have a question about something or I'd just want to rant and I'd text him at like 2 o'clock in the morning thinking like, you know, he'd probably be asleep and he'd respond in the morning, but he would respond immediately. And then he'd be texting me until like 3 a.m. So the kid doesn't sleep, frankly. And he doesn't sleep because he's too busy working for the students. He is so passionate and committed to everything that he does. He is a phenomenal leader. He's a better leader than I am. Honestly, he showed me out this past year. And he helped me stay accountable and stay on task in my things. Truly, I account and attribute all of the success that we had in the 67 session to Matthew's leadership, to Matthew's dedication, his drive, his passion, his ideas, his initiatives. He is so adamant about outreach. He organized so many of those different visits to different RSOs and things like that. He is so diligent when it comes to his advocacy work. He truly, truly wants to make sure that every single voice in this space is heard. I think it was Senator Murphy that mentioned he went out of his way last year to make sure that senators in this space felt connected to the executive branch, felt in the know about things involving the executive branch, and felt empowered to do their work. And I just cannot express deeply my support for him. Obviously, I worked a lot with Victoria as well, and Victoria is a phenomenal leader, a phenomenal person. I worked with her in the 66th session and in the 67th session, and having another woman in leadership was a phenomenal thing. She is also a very compassionate and passionate individual, and she's great for this space as well. But I would be really excited to see what ideas Matthew brings to this space and the action that he takes to get us there. So,
Thank you. Senator Mallard.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate some stuff that was said. Matthew is very dedicated to everything, even though he is very involved. He does not put one over the other. I also say he's like never late. He is always where he needs to be on time. And with the answering emails, I sent him this resolution that I have on the floor because he knows a lot of stuff, and we had been talking a lot about the libraries, and he emailed me at 12:30 at night, and I was like, okay. He emailed me an entire page, and the really nice thing as well is that he is truthful. He basically said that like half of my stuff had to be changed, and I kind of looked back over my resolution. I was like, yeah, no, you're right. There is stuff that needs to be changed, and that's what's really great is that Matthew is very honest in regards to policy and what you need to do. I think he'll be very unbiased. I think that he'll be able to provide opinions that do not align to his own personal needs, but the whole of the student body.
Senator Sauls, and then we'll go with you.
While I think both candidates are great, I will be voting for Senator Fawn. I haven't been SGA for a long time, but ever since I have been, I've seen Matthew at almost everything outside of SGA with all the clubs he's been in. Within 20 minutes of the first packet being sent out last week, he already emailed all the senators that are engineers and engineering senators about a town hall he wants to have and the ideas and meetings he wants to have with the deans and all the faculty. I truly do believe Matthew brings a great insight, and his experience with everything he's done will help this legislative branch. Thank you. Sorry. But besides that, Matthew is a great person. I truly believe he will lay down his life for SGA in Wichita State. He will rather die than let this university or SGA die, and that's something I want. Hypothetically, of course. He does everything in his full capacity. He doesn't lag. He's not lazy is what I'm trying to say. He does everything well to his fullest ability. My apologies.
Senator Izzard.
Echoing some of the sentiments of other people, I do agree that both candidates are very passionate. I guess some to the degree of what Senator Sauls is trying to say. But I will be speaking in affirmation of Senator Owens, though. I do think that if we look at the past session and what we were able to accomplish, we do need to kind of stop and think about that. We were an incredibly productive Senate last semester. We were able to pass a lot of things, and I would say most of the things that we passed are things that are going to directly impact students, which is the goal of SGA and the Senate. I think a lot of what we hear on campus about SGA is, oh, SGA doesn't do anything. Oh, I don't know about SGA because they're not impacting me or whatsoever. But we were able to do that because of Senator Owens' leadership last year, and we saw a lot of, at least I saw a lot of newer senators that were wanting to take more initiative in trying to write new legislation and getting more involved in things like that. Because of the way that she led, she placed such an emphasis on making sure that the newer senators knew what was going on, and we have a ton of newer senators this year, which I'm so glad everybody's here. But I really think that she's going to do a very good job at doing that. And even just the way she's able to explain things, she's incredibly personable and will not judge you for anything. I think one of the things that Senator Fawn, well, I do agree that he's a very good leader. I think one of the things that he did mention in his speech about reforming committee of the whole, he mentioned something about it being possible to, if it's not necessary, then he would take some of it out. And and just start the Senate meetings earlier. I know some of our newer senators have an experienced committee of the whole, but it is very valuable time where all the senators are in one space where people can just collaborate. Even if we're not doing any sort of senator development, it really is valuable time that I don't think should be replaced with just starting the Senate meeting earlier. I think we do need those times where we can all get together and also bring together the community of the Senate as well. Last session, it really felt much more like a community. No, I'm starting to ramble a little bit, but all that to say, I really think that Senator Owens will be a fantastic leader, especially with leading our newer senators into a potentially more difficult session.
Before we move on to the next senator speaking, I would like to reemphasize the professionalism of this space, making sure that we have an open mind and being able to listen to others while also being still entitled to our own opinions and then curate our own opinions from there. But I saw Senator Lopez, you're next.
I'm a new senator this year, y'all. Some of you might not know me. My name is Guillermo Gomero Lopez. A lot of people just call me G. Listen to everybody talk today about these two great people. It's awesome to hear you guys talk about how they all have their great experience, great connection. I love how you all have been avoiding any negativity towards each other or each candidate. And I just feel that it's going to be very difficult for me as a new senator to choose the Speaker of the Senate because they both sound like such great, amazing candidates. They'll both do great, amazing work. But from my perspective and from my history, I feel like that Senator Fawn will be getting my vote. It's not 100% yet, but as a new Speaker of the Senate, I would just like to voice that. Or not Speaker of the Senate, but Senator. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Lewis.
So to address I'm speaking in favor of Senator Owens, and to address you new senators and to give you an idea of this. So Senator Fawn, I think he could be a really good speaker, but I know that Senator Owens, what she did last year, she made it extremely easy to learn how to be a senator, how to make legislation, and the senator development meetings that she started were very helpful in learning just how to be a senator. What she started will help you learn how to be a senator, and I think she'll be very helpful as a speaker to continue that.
Adriana.
Hi, everyone. I know I spoke in public forum, but I would like to speak in the perspective of a chairperson. Senator Owens last session was my boss, and being a chairperson means that when you're electing a speaker, you're electing the people who will be your leaders in your committee. They will be your committee leaders, and oftentimes people, and you've had the benefit previously to have leaders who have been in those roles of leadership before, and that's awesome. And I hope that continues to happen. And we also have new leaders come into leadership roles to be a chairperson, and I've always been an advocate of that. I would say that in my role previously, I've been a chairperson in 3 sessions, and those bosses have been amazing for me, but I think the only one who was able to continue to foster growth as a leader for me was for Victoria. Coming in to be a speaker and then being like, you're gonna be in charge of 10 plus senators who are going to be in a committee with you, and you're going to have to teach them the ropes and facilitate that can be very daunting, especially when you're trying to learn the ropes yourself. And she not only facilitated one-on-ones that were able to teach me more about what it means to be a leader, but also was able to, for me to learn more about the role in general. I was student services chairperson last session, and in that role, it can be kind of hard to lead these senators in a way that you feel as if facilitating the best for them. You have to teach them legislation when sometimes you're having a hard time yourself. And having someone in the role who can say, here's how I can support you to support your committee members to do the work they can do is incredibly enlightening. I would also say that whenever you're picking a speaker, we have the opportunity to have such great candidates, like literally everyone else has mentioned. I would say you want a speaker who's able to lead well and teach their chairperson to teach your leadership. Because in those roles, you're like, oh, well, okay, at 5:30 every Wednesday, I'm going to have to sit and facilitate a meeting where I create an agenda and I help with writing legislation on top of my own roles as a senator, on top of being a student, on top of all of these things. And oftentimes we can lose sight of the idea that while we are chairpersons, we also are trying to learn in these positions, and we're also students. We have and as a graduate student, that is a specific thing where we have full lives outside of this and work and all of this thing. And she was able to pick up the slack that a lot of senators weren't able to fulfill because they have full lives outside of this space. And I think that's incredibly rewarding for a speaker to be able to come in and not only teach leadership who have been in it for a long time new things and how to write legislation, but also to show humility and humanity, to be like, you're humans, you're students, I will help you where you need help and meet you where you're at and be so supportive. So I recommend that you urge you, can't force you to do anything, I urge you to elect Victoria as your speaker.
Senator Bum.
My name is Luke. I'm a new senator here, but Senator Fahm will be getting my vote. Going into school last year, I was a first year, not involved in campus at all, and I was just kind of poking around, trying to find things to get involved in. And he told me about the Finance Commission. He really set the stage for me, showed me the ropes and everything, how to get involved. And then on top of that, after Finance Commission was over, he's the reason that I'm sitting in this seat today. He urged me to join SGA as a senator. And like my constituents have said before, he really looks for the best in people, and he just wants everyone to, show the best of themselves. So he's got my vote.
Senator Henley.
I'll be speaking for Senator Owens. One of the things that I really would like is some consistency, and I think we all know she did a really great job. And so if we're able to have her, that's something that I'm all for. And as one of the senators that came in partway through the fall semester, I think she did a really, really great job of trying to acclimate us into it. So for those two reasons, she'll be having my vote.
I'll go to Senator Lopez and then go to any on the side.
Going back to my point earlier, great job. I love all I'm hearing about both sides. One thing I do want to bring up that we made a point of before is every year we've had a new Speaker of the Senate, and I love the loyalty that I'm hearing from people that are speaking for Senator Owens. But as we've seen in the past, every year the Speaker of the Senate, they do great, amazing work. They build upon each other. And I just feel like it's hard to speak because they both have been a part of SGA for years. But I feel like a new Speaker of the Senate is what kind of continues to progress us forward.
Senator Hatch.
Okay. So I want to stress that this is in no way a negative towards either person. I think that this is like a disposition thing on who should be speaker in this situation, because they are both amazing and highly qualified. I've worked with both of them, and I have nothing but good things to say about them as people. The thing that has really pushed me into Victoria's corner was the discussion on emeritus status last week. I understand that there were some disagreements between former Chairperson Bobbitt and Senator Fawn, and just in general with the Finance Commission. And I understand that those things can leak into feelings. However, to me, the relationship between Senate and emeritus status is very much like the relationship between Speaker and the Senate. It is about uplifting voices and recognizing value and opinions even when you disagree. For me, speaking against Senator Bobbitt's emeritus status is highlighting the difference in disposition between the two people there. Because while Victoria and Bobbitt had many disagreements throughout the year last year, they were not going to speak against Bobbitt's emeritus status because at the end of the day, previous Senator Bobbitt, previous Chairperson Bobbitt, deserved it for the amount of work and the amount of effort and the amount of care that they had put into the Senate space. And that is the slight difference in disposition between the two people that really pushes Victoria Owens, for me, into the ideal version of a speaker, because she is there to uplift voices even when she disagrees.
We are going to take one more and then move into the voting period. Senator Miller.
As a new senator, I'd like to speak in support of Senator Fawn. I served as a member of the Freshman Leadership Council during my first year here at WSU, and Matthew Fawn has served as a rock in my experience pursuing student government. If you're looking to someone who can assist you along the way, new senators, I'd like to echo my previous new senators in support of Matthew Fawn. I think I can think of no one better to support us in our journey of becoming comfortable in our role as senators. I believe that Matthew Fawn executes everything that he does with intention, and I believe that he does these things well, and I can't think of anybody better for the speaker.
Okay. The debate on the nominees is now over, but before we get into the voting period, in order for the two new senators' votes to count, I will have to swear them in real quick. Renee and Rizwan, can you both stand up? Please raise your right hand, and if you accept at the end, please respond with "I do." Oh, did you swear in earlier? Did you get him? Okay, just Renee. Okay, please raise your right hand, and if you accept at the end, please respond with "I do." Do you hereby swear that you will faithfully serve the students of Wichita State University, act in accordance with the Constitution of the student body, fulfill all duties and responsibilities of the office in which you are about to enter, and to the best of your ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the student body of Wichita State University? Congratulations. The debate on the nominees is officially now over. At this time, all nominees for speaker are invited back in to participate in the vote. President Wong, please invite the senators back into the chambers. Okay. The chair hereby appoints Advisor Fonseca as the teller. They will take the official tally of votes. Mr. Clerk, please conduct a roll call.
Once I say your name, please say the last name of the nominee you wish to cast your vote for, or you may abstain or pass. If you pass, we will come back to you after the end of roll call. Senator Bum.
Fawn.
Senator Barnes.
Abstain.
Senator Rise. Luna Reyes, sorry.
Fawn.
Senator Fawn.
Fawn.
Senator Otten.
Owens.
Senator Beam.
Fawn.
Senator Black.
Abstain.
Senator Tawana.
Fawn.
Senator Sauls.
Fawn.
Senator Pang.
Fawn.
Senator Lopez.
Pass.
Senator Mallard.
Fawn.
Senator Victoria Owens.
Owens.
Senator Brown.
Fawn.
Senator Kassir Safar.
Fawn.
Senator Miller.
Fawn.
Senator Murphy.
Fawn.
Senator Henley.
Owens.
Senator Reiselhawk.
Pass.
Senator Scheich.
Fawn.
Senator Hansen.
Owens.
Senator Artiaga.
Fawn.
Senator Haynes.
Fawn.
Senator Mungaravani.
Fawn.
Senator Mahat.
Fawn.
Senator Sadat.
Fawn.
Senator Hatch.
Owens.
Senator Azard.
Owens.
Senator Lewis.
Owens.
Mr. Clerk, please call the roll call. Please call the roll for those who passed.
Senator Barnes.
I abstained.
Senator Lopez.
Fawn.
Senator Reiselhawk.
Ovens.
Is there anyone who wishes to change their vote? Okay. Okay. The voting period is now over. The Senate shall recess for 5 minutes for the tellers to confirm their tallies. Please be back at 8:11.
Senators, if you can go ahead and begin to take your seats again.
The Senate shall come back to order. It is the opinion of the chair that all members are present. Advisor Fonseca, we are ready for the results.
With the voting period now over and the tellers agree on their count, the Speaker of the Senate shall be Senator Fahn. Congratulations.
Therefore, without objection, forced by the conclusion of the election, the Senate adopts Senate Resolution 68-001, election of the Speaker of the Senate. Moving to the next item, Section 12, New Business. Carter.
12.1, act on request to approve SB-68-001, appointing Holly Cheung to be Media Relations Director.
Does the author wish to speak to this bill? President Wong, you have the floor.
Hi everyone, I'm back. So to introduce Holly Cheung is a first-year student pursuing a Bachelor's of Arts and Art emphasis with a minor in computer science. Later on, she'll be applying for the graphic design major. She currently works as a marketing assistant in the Office of Student Engagement and Belonging, where she finds creative ways to market the events, students, and organizations housed under this space. Outside of this role, she is heavily involved on campus in organizations such as Green Group, Chakra Buddies, Community Service Board, Vietnamese Student Association, Asian Student Conference, PASS, and Passage to Success. I first met Holly when I first saw her in the office creating content. There was a day where they had a speed tour of the Student Engagement and Belonging office, and if you haven't seen that, I encourage you all to watch it. It was really fun. I almost got bowled over, but it's okay. From there, I got to see her passion through the work she put into social media under her responsibilities. During her interview, she displayed a passion for graphic design and is starting to learn other media outlets such as professional photography and videography. She has initiatives to showcase the community so that the students and organizations can be highlighted. Additionally, she would like to see more video form content on our social media outlets, as well as creating more of a cohesive look across all the platforms. She believes that rather than just focusing on the executive branch, the social media should be a space to showcase the students, work, and leaders across all three branches. Because of her fresh perspectives, passion, and quality of work, Holly is the best candidate for the position of Director of Media Relations. I'm going to yield the rest of my time to Holly.
Are there any questions before then? Seeing none, does the nominee wish to speak on the bill? Yes. The floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Holly Cheung, and I'm deeply honored to have this opportunity to introduce myself. Sorry. I'm a first-year student currently majoring. I'm sorry. I'm currently a first-year student majoring in art emphasis with the intention of pursuing graphic design as I approach my sophomore year. It is truly both an honor and a privilege to be considered for the role of Director of Media Relations with the 68th session of Student Government Association. This role is not only an incredible opportunity, but also a responsibility that I'm truly excited to begin. I applied to this position because I strongly align with this administration's mission, particularly its focus on fostering student belonging within our community. I'm originally from Kansas City, Missouri, and I came to Wichita on my own last summer. Before becoming a student here, I had stepped foot on the city and then this campus twice, once for my college tour and the second time for my freshman orientation. At that time, I was filled with uncertainty and fear, not knowing what my future would hold here in this city and in this new school. However, despite the initial fear, I quickly found myself a welcoming and loving community of people who accepted me for who I am and who have encouraged me to take steps I never thought I'd be capable of. If I had told myself a year ago from today that I would be standing here speaking in front of this audience, I would have never believed it. It was because of the people and community I met here, I truly feel like I belong, and I can confidently say that Wichita and Wichita State truly feel like a home away from home. I hope that through this new administration, other students can feel the same, and I hope that I can also help them feel that way too. I believe I am best fit for this role because of my experience in journalism, marketing, graphic design, and the student leader positions that I currently hold. Through my work in journalism, I've had the opportunity to interact with diverse groups of people and share their stories, deepening my commitment to help give a voice to underrepresented communities. Through my work in marketing and graphic design, I've had the opportunity to gain hands-on experience in managing, creating content, promoting events, and building community engagement through the students. The leadership positions that I hold through the groups that I lead, such as Shocker Buddies and Green Group, have allowed me to develop my leadership skills, such as being able to effectively communicate and work collaboratively with others, while also giving me the confidence to take initiatives and lead initiatives to engage and inspire others. My experiences across these different areas have allowed me to develop the necessary skills to become a successful director of media relations. With this new role, I will fully be committed to fostering a strong and meaningful relationship with the student body while also creating an inclusive environment where everyone feels welcomed. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Senator Owens.
Hi, Holly. Good to see you here. So a huge piece of the association's need to outreach and to meet students where they are, lies within this jurisdictional position as well. So how do you intend to do that position this year and to really reach students and to get that media out there? And what kind of initiatives are you looking for with this process?
One thing that I really wanted to do, first thing I wanted to do is create a better branding, for lack of a better word, branding image for SGA. I feel like we kind of lack a really cohesive look for the way that SGA looks, and then if I am in charge of this role, I want to create an image where people know us rather than just sending out or just posting random photos out there. I want to create something that it's nice to look at as well. And then for outreach-wise, I feel like it's really hard for students to connect with SGA because we don't know the faces, coming from a first-year perspective, we don't know the faces of the people who are representing us. And so one thing I want to do is to kind of show who is in charge or what we do and who we are across all the branches that we have.
Are there any other questions? Okay, thank you, Holly. We will now move into the debating period. Does anyone wish to speak in debate? Senator Fawn.
Yeah, I will speak in affirmation of this appointment. I had the pleasure of getting to know Holly a little bit better through her involvement in community service work throughout the year. She really is a passionate, caring individual, and I seen her on that day where she was running around the SEM office recording, making those speed run tours. It's just really, her content's really great on the SEM social medias, and I can't imagine a better person to be in this role of Director of Media Relations for this session.
Senator Owens.
To echo the sentiments of Speaker Fawn, I think this type of position has been traditionally filled with some really amazing people. And to that point, too, I think she has a fantastic, not only resume and experience with this role, but I think media and outreach and those kinds of things is one of the most pertinent things we can do to reach out to our constituency. I will definitely be voting in favor of this candidate. I think she's lovely, and it really speaks to her qualifications there and her experience on campus and her engagement. It's really important to have someone in this role who is engaged as much as she is, and I think that's a great thing.
Senator Mallard.
Yeah, I think she gave a very great speech, and also just having her background in this position is extremely important. And also this will help her through her degree here at WSU, and I'd like to motion to approve with unanimous consent.
Seeing no further debate, moving into the voting period. Wait, sorry.
So I'm assuming you said unanimous consent? Sorry, okay. So for reference for everyone, unanimous consent vote basically means that you want to vote on this without taking an actual formal vote. If someone objects to that, so if, let's say, Senator Brown says, I object, I'm just going to pick on Senator Brown for a second. If he says, I object, then we go into a formal debating process. If no one objects to the motion of unanimous consent, then it's adopted and then the individual is confirmed. So that is what a unanimous consent vote means when it happens throughout the year.
Do I have a second?
Sorry, I'm going to jump in here. So you don't need a second. All you need to ask is there any objection?
Are there any objections?
So then you'll say seeing none?
Seeing none, moving to the voting period.
Nope, that's it. That is about. It's okay.
I'm trying.
So then you're good. So then you just say that the bill is passed with unanimous consent.
The bill is passed with unanimous consent. Thank you, y'all, for being patient with me. I'm just as new to this as you new senators out there. But, all right, next item.
12.2, act on request to approve SB-68-002, amendment to the President's Cabinet.
Does the author wish to speak on this bill? You're good.
I'm so sorry. Give me like 2 seconds to pull this up. I'm so sorry. So with this amendment, I'm just asking to take this role out so we can split the positions. Ideally, the initiatives that we want to see with these two positions are too much for one person with a 20-hour week to be able to complete to the standards that we want to set. So we would be splitting this into a health and wellness director, the health and wellness director role, and also the food sustainability and just general sustainability role. That way we can focus on, one, the shocker support locker, which I think needs a person that is just dedicated to that role instead of having somebody try to run around between sustainability with the community garden and then also running around with the menstrual products initiatives, and then also running around with the health and wellness director position role. Ideally, we would like to see a higher standard for those positions and initiatives that we have for those two. Realistically, need 2 people to help with those tasks. And then I can elaborate a little bit more on those tasks if you had any specific questions.
Are there any questions? Senator Owens?
Hello, President. So I did have a question. It's striking it obviously in a bylaw position that makes it so it would no longer be a permanent position, whether it's 2 or just 1 position. Is that something you'd like to maintain, that it's not necessarily a permanent position that has to be filled within the bylaws? Or is that something that you'll intend to change later? And I'd just love to get your perspective on that.
I think at that point, I would reflect on it after maybe the fall semester or maybe even the spring semester, just really see how the two roles split worked. If that worked well, if that did not work well, hear feedback from students, especially Senate, to really utilize the space for feedback and concerns. Ideally, if everything goes well and everything that I set out for this administration is done through 2 positions, I would ideally like to keep it at 2 positions. But if we find that, hey, it wasn't as bad as we thought, maybe this could be back in 1 position, obviously then I would change it back into the 1 position, just so that we can be smart with our resources. And also, it also would kind of depend on the next administration, what their ideas are as well. But that at that point, if it didn't go well, we would just put it back into 1 position. But if the next administration wants to keep it at 2, ideally, I wouldn't change it, just so I wouldn't have to make the next administration go back and redo everything.
Are there any other questions? Senator Fawn?
I had a question for Advisor Fonseca. So to clarify for this bill, do we have to suspend the rules for this to be the first and final read?
If that's the desire of the Senate, yes. But if not, then it will be voted on next week.
Senator Owens?
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. And I'd love to get a little bit more. You said you would like to hold a higher standard for this position. And I'd love for you to speak more to that, especially with your experience on cabinet and also what that looks like coming up for both of those separate positions.
Yeah, so ideally for the health and wellness director position, I would like to see somebody who is passionate and committed in that role. Just within the past 2 sessions, there has been a gap between SGA and those parts of campus, and some of it not the director's fault. Sometimes things just fall through. With the 66th session, I didn't see as much of an outreach as I would have liked for the Health and Wellness Week. On top of that, I felt that the Health and Wellness Week was something that was just a template, and we're just like, hey, do this, whatever. Keep going, which to me I didn't like or appreciate, just because I felt that there could have been a lot more done. There could have been a lot more outreach. There could have been a lot more conversations, not only between the departments that are under health and wellness, but also between just students as well as the Senate, to get feedback and concerns. So ideally, one of the first things I would like for that person to look at is the Health and Wellness Week, to just start on it, just to plan it, just have a baseline idea, and then we can polish it up as we're going into that week. Another idea that I wanted to implement with the Health and Wellness director is to give the menstrual products initiative to them. Right now, it's a great initiative, but we could do a lot more with it. Just with refilling the menstrual products, it's kind of difficult sometimes just for one person to run around every single building on campus to refill it, and they empty out very fast, which means the initiative is working, but how can we make it a little bit more efficient just for the students so that they're not always having to request refills? And so I think we can get some new ideas on what we can do to make that initiative a little bit better. And then just with the food security and sustainability director position, like I said, we really need somebody in SGA to really be at the shocker support locker. While I understand that there are shocker support locker assistants right now, the communication to SGA isn't quite as direct as I would like it. So somebody who's directly there, directly seeing the work, the impact, and then can come back to SGA and say, hey, here are the concerns and feedback that I'm seeing. Here's what I'm seeing that doesn't work well, so that we can work on those initiatives within the executive and legislative branch. On top of the sustainability piece, something that the Howard Fawn administration initially looked at was the STARS initiative, which is something that I would like to look into and continue, but I need a little bit of help understanding the sustainability piece. I understand I'm not an expert in everything, so I would like somebody who is dedicated to that, and also reaching out to different departments to see how can we be a little bit more sustainable. One of the things that actually Holly said in her interview was her concerns of food waste, which is something that I see a lot around campus as well. And so just addressing how can we maybe address that food waste, especially after some of those events where Chartwell's doesn't really still has food left over. What can we do with that food so we're just not throwing it in the trash? Different initiatives and ideas like that. I'm rambling, I'm so sorry. But I'm so excited to see different perspectives and new ideas on these two positions, which is why ideally I would like it to have two different roles rather than one, because I think it's too much to do in 20 hours a week for one person.
Are there any other questions? Okay. We will now move into the debating period. Does anyone wish to speak in debate? Senator Fawn.
For this bill, I move to suspend the rules for this bill SB-68-002 to meet its first and final read.
Second.
Okay. For this, we need a 2/3 vote.
I think while the clerk prepares that, just for reference for new folks, a suspension of the rules, typically bills require a 2-week read period. So an introduction, and then the following week, a final vote by the Senate. Of course, with any things that may come up with committee or with whatever the speaker decides. A suspension of the rules allows for a bill to, one, have to secure a 2/3 vote in order to suspend the rules to allow a bill to be voted on, which basically means that if this vote is successful, then we'll immediately jump into the debating period of the bill, and then tonight you'll vote on either passing or failing the bill. A 2/3 vote doesn't necessarily mean that the bill will pass or a bill will fail, but in order to bring it tonight, then you'll have to, the vote will have to pass in order for you all to debate and then finally vote on it. If the vote fails and doesn't secure a 2/3, then the bill will be brought up the following week or at the speaker's discretion when that person is seated. So for reference for new folks and a reminder for our returning people.
Okay, I will be conducting the vote. If you're in favor, just say yes, no, if you're not, and then abstain if you'd like to abstain. Senator Bum.
Yes.
Senator Barnes.
Abstain.
Senator Luna Reyes.
Yes.
Senator Fawn.
Yes.
Senator Otten.
Yes.
Senator Beam.
Yes.
Senator Black.
Yes.
Senator Tawana.
Yes.
Senator Sauls.
Yes.
Senator Pang.
Yes.
Senator Lopez.
Yes.
Senator Mallard.
Yes.
Senator Owens.
Yes.
Senator Brown.
Yes.
Senator Kassir Safar.
Yes.
Senator Miller.
Yes.
Senator Murphy.
Yes.
Senator Seals. Senator Henley.
Yes.
Senator Reiselhoff.
Abstain.
Senator Scheich.
Yes.
Senator Hansen.
Yes.
Senator Beatty. Senator Arteaga.
Yes.
Senator Boyd. Senator Haynes.
Yes.
Senator Mangaravani.
Yes.
Senator Mahat.
Yes.
Senator Sadat.
Yes.
Senator Hatch.
Yes.
Senator Azard.
Yes.
Senator Lewis.
Yes.
With 27 in favor, 0 against, and 2 abstentions, the motion passes.
We will now move into the debating period. Does anyone wish to speak in debate? Senator Mallard.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I think that it's a good idea to split these when we get to it. Obviously, as of right now, all it is getting rid of it. that's what we're voting on. But to look in the future, the idea of splitting these up and making them into their own is actually extremely beneficial. And I think Speaker Fawn can attest that he had to drive around and put the menstrual products in a lot, but that wasn't even his job. But now if we're able to make, health and wellness and have that person also be able to do wellness week and then a sustainability director as well, they are different jobs. And I'd also like to see in the future that when we do the sustainability, it's not just the community garden, it's not just the Shocker Sport Locker, but also the sustainability of student government, the sustainability of appropriations, and overall sustainability. But yeah, I will be speaking in affirmation.
Andrew?
Okay, last one, and then I promise I'll go quietly into the night. So I am uniquely qualified to speak on this because I was part of the committee in the 66th session that combined the positions and dissolved one of them. Originally, these were two separate positions, and they were reduced into a single position for a variety of reasons. The overall reason that these positions were combined into a single position is because the sustainability position was incredibly difficult to fill. There was not demand from anyone to come in and want to fill it. And then additionally, the sentiment in the 66th session was that the executive branch as a whole was a little bloated. There were a lot of people who were reporting a lot of hours every week with very little to show for it. And while I do respect the decision of each president to identify specific needs and add additional positions, a consideration of that is you have to pay all these people. The bylaws do require that every additional position be paid at a minimum of the least paid position. So these positions would all be paid at $12 an hour for 20 hours a week. And while once again, I do note that the needs of each session does change every year, I would call back to the fiscal situation that we currently are in. SGA took a significant cut to its budget this past year, and creating all of these new positions, it was going to require money to be set aside to fund them. And once again, I do recognize that things do change, but the overwhelming opinion of the 66th session was that there simply wasn't enough demand. There wasn't enough work to fill 20 hours, which is why these two positions were combined into one. Several other positions were cut. The goal was to create an individual who would be qualified to address a wide variety of campus issues rather than a whole bunch of super specialized individuals that didn't have anything to do. Kind of as a final thought on that, this past session, as an example, the director of sustainability and health and wellness did have to step down. So that position was largely unfilled for a large section of the previous session. And I'm not qualified to speak on to why that position was not refilled. I just know that like I said, historically it has been very, very difficult to find qualified and willing applicants for those positions. Thank you.
Senator Owens?
Yeah, so to speak specifically about what this bill is aiming at, I think Senator Mallard really hits the nail on the head there. It is just removing the position from having to be filled each year. Whatever the executive branch ends up doing with that position is within their rights and responsibilities of their duties and responsibilities of their positions. Personally, I think the Senate's responsibility here is to look at what's in front of you, not what is potentially in front of you in the future. And I think it's important to have this perspective there because it is a really important point that this position has not traditionally been filled and it has not traditionally had the highest standards. And that's okay. That's happened. That's all in the past. We can improve and do better in the future. And President Wong makes some fantastic points and promises that I'm incredibly excited for. But for now, let's sit in where we are, which is a bylaw amendment to strike this, which just specifically would make it so that it doesn't have to be a permanent position that is required to be filled each session, and let's sit with that. I will personally be voting in favor of this simply because, one, whether or not this is divided into two positions or not, this is a position that is incredibly hard to fill. It truly is, and it's something that I don't believe necessarily has to be a permanent position, much like chief of staff and media relations and legislative affairs and policy are integral to the cabinet position. Wellness and sustainability is an additive, if that makes sense. And I think it's an important position that I trust the executive branch to do what they need to with it. But as it sits right now, I don't think it necessarily needs to be in our bylaws that it's required to fill. So I'll be voting in favor of this, and I'm excited to see, what hits the floor next or what discussion is happening next. But then again, it's always important to talk about budgetary concerns with additional added positions. That's always important. But ultimately, I trust our executive branch to make those tough decisions. And right now, as it sits, I'll be voting in favor.
Senator Fawn.
I will also speak in affirmation of this bill. As someone that was a senator at that government oversight meeting when we merged the wellness and sustainability, merged it into one role originally, I think at that time it was necessary to merge those things. But with last session where I created framework where it would create a sustainability committee. So that's just another responsibility to the Director of Wellness and Sustainability, in addition to currently as it stands, they also oversee the Menstrual Products Advisory Board, also the Health and Wellness Commission, so it can easily add up. So I would be in favor of striking, having that in favor of this bill as it sits right now.
Senator Mallard.
Just wanted to throw out a quick point. I completely agree with what Andrew did say. I believe I was here for that. Yeah, I was here. But something that Matthew kind of touched as well is that we have added stuff to it now. We did the menstrual products, so we've added more duties kind of after we merged it. So I don't think when we merged it, we were initially thinking that we were going to add so many responsibilities, especially now with moving the community garden closer to the RSC and allowing students more access. I think both points that have been stated are excellent points, but I think moving on, now we need to look at going back to how it originally was. Also, it was stated that this position was not filled, and it's also up to the president. This position serves at the discretion of the president. So if no one was in it for a while, we might as well remove it and change it. But right now, all we're voting on is to remove it. So.
Would anyone else like to speak? Okay. Seeing no further debate, moving into the voting period.
Here we go again. All right. Senator Bum.
Yes.
Senator Barnes.
Yes.
Senator Luna Reyes.
Yes.
Senator Fawn.
Yes.
Senator Otten.
Yes.
Senator Beam.
Yes.
Senator Black.
Yes.
Senator Tawana.
Yes.
Senator Sauls.
Yes.
Senator Pang.
Yes.
Senator Lopez.
Yes.
Senator Mallard.
Yes.
Senator Owens.
Yes.
Senator Brown.
Yes.
Senator Kassir Safar.
Yes.
Senator Miller.
Yes.
Senator Murphy.
Yes.
Senator Seals. Senator Henley.
Yes.
Senator Reiselhawk.
Abstain.
Senator Scheich.
Yes.
Senator Hansen.
Yes.
Senator Beatty.
Abstain.
Senator Arteaga.
Yes.
Senator Boyd. Senator Haynes.
Yes.
Senator Mangaravani,
Yes.
Senator Mahat,
Yes.
Senator Sadat,
Yes.
Senator Hatch,
Yes.
Senator Azard,
Yes.
Senator Lewis.
Nay.
With 27 in favor, 1 against, and 2 abstentions, the motion passes.
Next item.
12.3, act on request to approve AR-68-001, University Resources Transparency Act.
Does the author wish to speak? The floor is yours, Senator Mallard.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to bring our first association resolution to us. I wanted to speak about why I brought this up. As many of you know from the previous session, that I had spoke about this, about the library's removal or deacquisition of their materials. Also, for those of you who don't know what that word means, because I was asked that, it is the removal. I'll just pull up what it was. So I can say it exactly, but it's the official removal of an item from a library, a museum, or art gallery in order to sell it or to dispose of it, so that you're aware of what that word means. But there was a lot of talk going around about what's happening. A lot of departments, a lot of students, a lot of faculty did not know what was happening. And then finally, when we went to the town hall, I spoke with several students. I spoke with the dean, Dr. Connors. He is the dean of the English department. I spoke with the history department. I spoke with several students, and it was determined that no one knew. The chairs didn't know, the faculty didn't know, the students didn't know, and that's a problem. And so the point of this resolution is to ensure that not just the libraries, but also, for example, with the geology department, we're merging with Anthro, and we're possibly going to have to get rid of our library, but to make sure that there's a process, that all students are knowledgeable of what exactly is getting rid of what exactly we are removing from the university and where it's going and what's going to happen. Some points that were brought up in the town hall were, do we have a list of these materials, and are we able to get this materials to students? And the dean asked, why do you want that? That was a lot of our opinions, extremely unprofessional and not okay to ask as a librarian. You do not get to ask us why we want this for our research or why we want to see what is being removed. It is the purview of the students, it's the purview of the faculty and staff. If we want to do research on an object, on a subject, on a manuscript, on a paper, that we get it. With this resolution, there are actually some amendments. I wanted to get this in on Friday so that we had enough time to get it done. So we will, there is a document in the Teams with all the amendments. All the green are the amendments that we're adding, and all the red is stuff that we are removing. And also another thing I will say, another reason for this was that the library had stated that a lot of the stuff was being digitized, and we actually found out that some of the stuff from special collections has not been digitized. For those of you who are not aware, special collections is it's works that are not publicly accessible, and you actually have to go I think it's like through a committee, or it's through a process to be able to access this research. And one of the things that you guys saw if you read The Sunflower, that some research was thrown away of handwritten notes that have not been digitized. That information is lost forever, and we cannot do that. As I said, once we actually get to it, there is stuff that I will be motioning to add in, stuff that I'll be motioning to remove. Of the stuff I'll be motioning to add are more of measures in terms of what they need to write down, a time period, as well as how they will send that information out. But I will open it for questions.
Are there any questions? Senator Lopez.
You were talking about how some of the things were just completely lost through the whole process of digitizing things. Can you give us a couple examples of the things that were lost or anything like that?
Yes. Give me 2 seconds real quick. Hey, David. I'm trying to pull up the thing, but as I had stated, if you guys read the Sunflower article, there was, okay, here we go. So I'll just read what he sent me. So the material we found was donated to the library in 1981 by former WSU faculty Walter Merrill, an archive of his work on a scholarly edition of the letters of the American abolitionist William Lloyd Garrison. So the library held onto these materials. They did not add them to the library's catalog acquisition because they did not find them of scholarly value. It seems they finally decided to dump them while they were throwing away everything else. Our issues that the library's best practice suggests that such materials be offered to other libraries or departments, and as so far as we can tell, this has never been done. This piece was just up in the Sunflower and explains it pretty well. I hope that kind of explains it. I'll also say that there are some people that acquired some books, and we did research on the books that we acquired. And some of the journals and books have not been digitized. Now, they did say that it might take a bit for some of them to be in the system, but also there's stuff that has not been digitized, and we've looked into it.
Did you have a follow-up question?
Who's currently in charge of like getting rid of these items? Like, who decides what items we keep in our library archives and continues to get digitized before they get thrown away or something?
Yeah, so I don't want to fully 100% say who it is, but obviously I do believe that Brent Maya, the dean of the University Libraries, as well as the library, all the staff there are a group of people that do that. But one of the questions that was brought up was assistant librarians that are not fully with the library, something like that. We also have a library committee within Faculty Senate. I don't actually know if they've been meeting. From what I know, I don't think they have. Again, don't quote me on some of the stuff. But the hope is that even though the libraries know what we have, they might not know what research is currently happening. And so what this resolution, and there's some stuff that we have changed, pushes is that if they're throwing out, let's use biology, because that was one of the topics that the dean had brought up. If they're throwing away biology books, they'll reach out to the biology department. They'll send them a list. Then that list, the biology department can send to those who are doing a research, and then the biology department can say, well, we're doing research in this, and this. We actually need those books. And then they can get rid of these ones. That way, we're not just throwing away everything, because the library is saying, oh, these books haven't been used for a while, but maybe students don't actually know that those ones are there, and they might do research.
Senator Owens.
I know this is this bill's first read, but anticipating, hypothetically, if the rules are suspended to allow for the second read to happen tonight, looking at a lot of your amendments and those kinds of things, would you be open to doing all of those amendments at one time instead of 1,000 times so we don't have to stunning? Okay, I'm seeing also, could you speak to those amendments and those changes that you're making?
Yeah, so what we're going to do is I'm going to motion to approve everything in green. That way we approve all the stuff that is being added, and then I'm going to make another motion to remove all the stuff in red. I'll start with the stuff that we're removing. I initially made this because I wanted to include everything. So when we're looking at the demolition of buildings, we're looking at furniture, we're looking at supplies, because some departments might be able to use stuff. Talking with some people, Matthew had brought up that they're pretty good about ensuring that when they demolish a building, that they do have like town halls, that they talk about stuff. And so I decided, you know what, yeah, let's change it up and bring it more so to university collections transparency. I think I want to also change the name, because that was something I want to do. But so I got rid of everything that included buildings. I added a line about the special collections because I didn't have much information. I was waiting for Dr. Connors to reach out to respond to an email, and he informed me of that, so that we have normal collections and special collections, the collections from all departments, and then the collections that people don't have access to. Some wordage. And then section 5, 6, and 7. Those ones are, so the associate urges the university to provide publicly accessible inventory materials. So just talking about like what we want people to, like a list of items that they're throwing away or deacquisitioning. I'll state that from now on. We want a comment period and a notification period. Then in section 6, I further that, so we're saying that we want 1 week of notifications to departments, to chairs, to faculty, to students. And yeah, the procedures for offering deacquisition material for donation in public. So ensuring that we also know how they're actually saying that these ones are leaving. And so basically each line of the 3 sections that I've added is to ensure that like why they're removing it, who they'll contact, when they'll contact them, and then how they'll contact. So they'll contact them through, well, we urge them to contact them through email, shocker blast, and social media. And also something else, I do have a line up here at the very top. University facilities, materials, and resources are funded in part by student tuition fees and public investments, and making transparent and equity access the right of the student body. Obviously, a lot of this is faculty and staff, but I want to urge that this was because of students. I've spoken to a lot of students, and a lot of you guys out there can attest, a lot of students were not happy that our resources are being gone, and we believe that it is a purview of the students and the student body. If stuff is being removed, especially research, and it's in the benefit of the students, then the students should have a say in what is removed.
Senator Razulak.
Hi. Did you know that the library has removed a lot of technology? So pretty much a year ago, there was computers on all 3 floors of the library and in the basement as well. But then within this year, so I work at the library. I'm in the library technologies team, and we know that all the computers from the top floors and the basement were removed, and we haven't had any updated, like new computers or new technology. Even the VR is old. So can we have like another section in this amendment, in this act? I'm really new to how this works, but yeah. Do you think we can add another section? And I will be really happy to help you with more information and stuff.
Yeah, so I knew that they removed them, and from what I remember talking with some people, a lot of the removal was one due to the fact that it wasn't used as much as they were hoping. Also, the removal of technology was to make way for new resources for students. They added, larger seating areas, as well as removing the anthropology museum over there, which is partially some of the reason why they're removing books, so they have to make way for space. Also, in regards to library technology, I know that they have a lot of other resources, but one of the things that the dean talked about is Mobius Consortium. I think it was that one, which is a new software that they are looking to enact. It hasn't happened yet. I believe it's next year. And what that is going to do is have a massive database for resources in terms of books that we can access from our computers here. And so I won't speak fully on this. I'm not quite sure if I want to include that in here, because this is more so collections that we can't get. In technology, we can get a lot of constantly, but a book that is not there anymore is gone forever and we'll never have again. I think that's not quite what the focus of this is, but maybe for in the future for something else, we might be able to.
Any other questions? Since this is the first read, Senator Fawn.
I move to suspend the rules for this resolution for its first and final read.
I second.
Okay. We will now move into the voting period. We will need 2/3 of the vote.
All right. Senator Bum.
Yes.
Senator Barnes.
Yes.
Senator Luna Reyes.
Yes.
Senator Fawn.
Yes.
Senator Otten.
Yes.
Senator Beam.
Yes.
Senator Black.
Yes.
Senator Tawana.
Yes.
Senator Sauls.
Yes.
Senator Pang.
Yes.
Senator Lopez,
Yes.
Senator Mallard,
Yes.
Senator Owens,
Yes.
Senator Brown,
Yes.
Senator Kassir-Safar,
Yes.
Senator Miller,
Yes.
Senator Murphy,
Yes.
Senator Seals, Senator Henley,
Yes.
Senator Russelhock,
No.
Senator Scheich,
Abstain.
Senator Hansen,
Yes.
Senator Beatty, Senator Arteaga,
Yes.
Senator Boyd, Senator Haynes,
Yes.
Senator Mangrovani,
Yes.
Senator Mahat,
Yes.
Senator Sadat,
Yes.
Senator Hatch,
Yes.
Senator Azard,
Yes.
Senator Lewis,
Yes.
With 27 in favor, 1 against, and 1 abstention, the motion passes.
We will now move into the debating period. Does anyone wish to speak in debate? Senator Mallard.
I motion to amend the resolution to include lines 33 through 35 and 63 through 81, that you guys are able to see this in the Teams, and once Gabe gets up there, as well as everything in green. And I also want to change the name to University Collections Transparency.
Dr. Fonseca.
You know what, we'll just motion for all of the amendments. As well as, it's not in green, but if you could scroll up just real quick and highlight the collections and make that green as well.
I second.
Now you go to any debate on the amendments.
You said what? Sorry.
He'll ask if there's any debate on the amendments.
Are there any debates on the amendments? Senator Owens.
Love them. That's all. I suggest you all also love them if you do. I hope you all read them while we had the minute time to do so. And seeing as Senator Mallard already explained in detail each of the changes, I don't see any reasons why we shouldn't just adopt them as such. So I motion to adopt with unanimous consent.
You'll ask if there are any objection.
Are there any objections?
So then you'll say amendments adopted as such.
Amendment is adopted as such. Thank you.
And then you'll go to debate on the whole bill.
Moving on to debate, Senator Owens.
Now, I don't know if anyone else has any other thoughts, but I'm going to make a particular motion. So if you could give me a, don't do it if you really want to speak. I think we've gotten everything we need from the conversations we had. I think this is a pertinent and important conversation, and I'm incredibly excited to have this be our first association resolution of this session. Additionally, I want to give my flowers to Senator Mallard for his hard work, not only in the previous session, but also in this session, really starting out the gate strong and quickly writing this for it to be considered to the body. So I'm going to make a motion to adopt with unanimous consent.
You'll ask if there any objection.
Are there any objections?
Then seeing none,
Seeing none,
the resolution is adopted as such.
resolution is adopted. Thank you guys for being patient with me. But moving to the next item, section 13, swearing in of the speaker. Will the speaker-elect come to the front? Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Matthew Fawn,
I, Matthew Fawn,
hereby swear
hereby swear
that I will faithfully serve the students of Wichita State University
that I will faithfully serve the students of Wichita State University,
act in accordance with the Constitution of the student body,
act in accordance with the Constitution of the student body,
and fulfill all duties and responsibilities required of the office of Speaker of the Student Senate.
and fulfill all duties and responsibilities required of the office of Speaker of the Student Senate.
I will, to the best of my ability,
I will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the student body of Wichita State University.
the Constitution of the student body of Wichita State University.
Congratulations. Speaker Fawn, you may now take the speaker's chair.
Thank you, Madam President and Senators. Moving to the next item, Section 14, adjournment. The Student Government Association Senate will stand in adjournment until Wednesday, May 7th at 7:30 p.m. The meeting is adjourned.